a specific sound that glass makes right before it shatters. It's a sound that gives you just enough time to realize that you've made a mistake. I first heard it when I was 4, standing at the end of my dining table, holding a jar of mango pickle balanced on top of 4 coasters. For one glorious second, it had stayed upright. Then, the coaster shifted, the jar tilted, and gravity won. Glass shattered everywhere, and the smell of mango pickle filled the room, and I stood there in a halo of oil and regret. Now, that jar had been fermenting for weeks, and if you come from an Indian household, you know achar isn't just a condiment. It's a process. It's monitored, and it's waited on patiently until it reaches a level of perfection. Knowing I wasted a jar of patience, care, and time, I reacted the only way a 4-year-old could. I started apologizing as if the speed of my words would somehow reverse time. I said sorry in every tone I had. Urgent sorry, panicked sorry, on the verge of tears sorry. My mom didn't shout. She just looked at the floor, then at me, and asked, Mehak, did you really think you could balance that? Now, the honest answer was no. I hadn't thought it through. I just believed in myself, really enthusiastically. And then she said something which at the time felt wildly disproportionate to my crime. She said, Mehak, sorry doesn't make dead men alive. Now at 4, I didn't care. I was distracted. I didn't really understand why we were talking about dead men. I broke a jar, said sorry, and thought that should have been enough to move on. But somehow that one sentence stuck, and it echoed in my ears every time I made a mistake, even when I didn't fully understand where I went wrong. The next time I heard it was at 6, when I got caught copying off the answers to my homework. The same sentence floated through the room once again. Sorry doesn't make dead men alive. My apologies that had once felt so heavy and so frantic were now strangely weightless, and all I wanted was a loophole. One word that would make it all untrue. Something that would give sorry its dignity back. At 8, I accidentally ruined my sister's drawing. I mumbled, sorry, expecting it to do the trick. But the sentence came again, clear and unchanging. And that's when I learned that saying the words doesn't fix the mess. It only acknowledges it. By 12, I was so desperate for a loophole. And one evening, I thought I finally found it. I walked up to my mom and I said, sorry doesn't make dead men alive, but it does leave flowers at their grave. I was so proud of myself. It was thoughtful, it was poetic, and I thought I cracked it. And while I was mid-celebration, she asked me, Mehak, what good are flowers if we can't even smell them? And that sentence changed everything. It changed the way I view the word sorry forever, because she was right. It wasn't about saying that sorry is useless. It was saying that it's incomplete. Now our actions carry weight, whether we intend them to or not. And sometimes that weight can't be undone. But here's the thing, acknowledging that weight doesn't need to feel heavy. It's not about shame. It's curiosity. It's attention. It's the part where you look at the puddle of mango pickle all over the floor and think to yourself, how could I have not made this mess? And little by little, I started noticing it everywhere. Little things I say, little things I do, even small gestures. They mattered more than I realized. When I complimented a classmate, it stuck. When I spoke too quickly or interrupted, I could feel it ripple back. And that's when I learned that responsibility isn't some big dramatic moment, but it's quiet and it's noticing. Now that jar of mango pickle never came back, but that sentence, that moment, and the lesson I learned from it did. And now I'm strangely grateful for it, because it reminds me that apologies can't fix everything, but they can start something. They can start change, and they can start awareness. And if a 4-year-old standing in a puddle of mango pickle can learn that gravity is undefeated, maybe all of us can learn that responsibility isn't about shame. It's about choosing every day to build something that we won't have to apologize for later. Because that sound, the one right before something shatters, it doesn't just belong to a jar of mango pickle. It shows up every day in our conversations, in our decisions, and in moments we don't think through. And most of the time, we do hear it. The question is, will we listen in time? Thank you.